this video we will discuss about risk identification process. Before going to risk identification process, we will know that what is risk. Risk is an event which will impact an organization in terms of business, financial losses or operational interruptions, etc. So to identify such risks, we have a automated flow in ServiceNow that is nothing but a risk identification process. So risk identification allows automated workflows, tracking and monitoring, leading to a stronger governance and compliance. So for risk identification process, we need to have two main things, that is risk identification configuration and risk identification questionnaires. To create a risk identification configurations, you need to require risk admin role. So here I have already created, so I will open that and I'll explain. So here you need to give the name and entity class, and also you need to give the risk manager group. These manager are nothing but having users or groups having manager role, and they are responsible for controlling the entire flow of a risk identification process. So here we have two types of flows. One is identification questionnaires and inherent assessment. We can choose any one or we can choose both. So I have choose risk identification questionnaires here. So in risk identification questionnaire section, you will mention the questionnaires and then you will mention the frequency on define the periodicity of a risk identification workflow should be reinitiated. So after saving this record, we need to publish this record. So after publishing, we will create one risk identification record over here. So here it will show the entities which is based on the entity class which we added in the risk identification configuration. So I will choose one entity. Yes sir. On saving, it will automatically populated some fields and move to information gathering state. So here it will auto populated entity owner, risk manager groups from the risk identification configurations and the questionnaires. So here you need to specify the risk manager who will handle the entire flow of a risk identification process. So here only a entity owner can take the information gathering assessment. So I will impersonate to entity owner. So here Alene Rebecca. So I am impersonating her. So I am taking the assessment. So once entity owner submit the assessment, so you can see the states of an risk identification has changed. So I will end the impersonation and continue the flow. So I will reload this record. Here risk manager can associate the risk. The manager will review the response of questionnaires and associate the risk by clicking on the associate risk. Risk associated to the entity will populated in the related list, and then manager can associate citations and policies. So you can add it from the library or you can leave it. So I will add the policy from the library. So I will click on associate controls, so it will create the controls. These controls count is based on the control objectives present in the policy record. So once controls are created, you can initiate the attestation process. Once the attestation done, you can monitor this risk identification process. So we attach the policy, citations and controls to improve the compliance of an organization. So once the controls in attestation is done, you can monitor this risk identification process and it will retire.